All right, we now welcome on to Inside TBT, former Marshall player and member of Heard That TBT, John Elmore. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm fired up.
We are fired up to have you as well. You look a little sweaty. Can I guess?
Just got back from a hoop session, man.
That's good.
Is it safe to say that there's a lot of people in the same boat as you in terms of they're just getting back into it, and whether that's because they were hanging out or because now stuff's finally opening up, or what?
I think with everything opening back up, and you just have to take advantage of it. Everything's been closed. You got to get in the gym. You got to do conditioning on your own. So I think we're all kind of in the same boat, trying to get back into it and get back into shape as fast as possible.
You guys – there's a lot of teams that have this, but this is not Heard That's first year in terms of guys that are playing. The team looks a little different, though. Can we kind of get a little bit of the backstory of Heard That and how this team with these specific players came to be?
Yeah, so we played in the TBT last year, and it was kind of based off our AAU team and some of our college teammates. So that's why we were the West Virginia Wildcats. But as we started forming the roster this year, we just more and more Marshall guys kept joining, and guys that we were close with, some of our teammates, some of our brothers, stuff like that. And so I think we have 5 or 6 Marshall guys. So that's kind of where we turned it towards an alumni team. And, as a mid-major, you don't always have a ton of guys that are still playing. So we kind of had to dig outside the box a little bit. We added a couple bigs from other schools. We got Zach Smith from Texas Tech, Ryan Luther, who played at Pittsburgh and then Arizona, and then Chris Coakley, who was all conference in Conference USA, so we played against him. So guys we've gotten to know from playing the AAU circuit, playing college circuit, and then some of these guys we've ran into playing professionally. So we formed those relationships, and we just kind of went with it.
For the TBT audience that doesn't know, the coach of Marshall, Coach D'Antoni, plays a frenetic style of basketball where there are lots of shots. And if you don't shoot an open three, you're probably getting pulled out. Better shoot a contested three at the beginning of the shot clock than a wide open layup at the end. Is it safe to expect that type of basketball to be played for you guys during the TBT?
No question. If you don't see us shooting early in the shot clock, like something's going on. We're probably having internal problems because we want to get up and down. We want to score 100 points. We want to set the TBT scoring record, to be honest. So, the D'Antoni style, everybody says a little bit of defense, but we're going to try to play a little bit of defense, but we're really going to focus on the offensive end and see what we can do.
Defense is for guys that can't play offense anyway. So
right. Whoever scores the most points wins, right?
Exactly.
And speaking kind of scoring records, we're actually talking to the all-time leading scorer in the history of Conference USA. So how much can we expect you to score an average game this summer?
I'm telling my teammates to get me the ball, man. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I've always been a guy that just tries to make the right play, whether that's taking the open shot or setting teammates up. So if it's there, if my step back's there, if a deep three's there, I'm not going to hesitate.
So what's your light looking like? Kind of green, light green, dark green? How green's your green light?
Neon green.
Bright green. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm hunting shots, but I'm going to be aggressive.
I mean, you're hunting shots. You don't have to lie on you. I mean, if you were hunting shots, that'd be doing a disservice to your team, right? That's your job.
Yeah. National television, I got to get some up.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about this off before we were recording, but talk a little bit about your transition from VMI, where honestly it's a similar brand of basketball, right? I mean, but coming over to Marshall, was it kind of a dream come true to be in D'Antoni's system?
Dude, it was. So I had never met Coach D'Antoni. He was from West Virginia. I'm from West Virginia. And the D'Antoni name is just legendary. So when I transferred to Marshall, I had never talked to him. So we set up a meeting. I met him the first day I enrolled in the school there. I met with him at like 8:30 in the morning in his office. And he was like, tell me about yourself, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, look, Coach, I'd love to play for you. And he was like, well, here's a jersey. We'll see what you got practices at 2:30. So had never had any prior conversations to him. I get in practice, and we're practicing like threes from a step inside half court. I had never played so fast and never freed. I mean, you know, you try to play with a little structure, but he's just like, go, 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 ultimate green light. So having him as a coach, I mean, you see the guys in the NBA, the numbers they put up playing for his brother. I mean, and just you love playing for a coach that believes in you and instills that type of confidence in you. I think it makes you play better. So I was really blessed to have him and play in that system for my 4 years.
Was it a difficult transition for you to go from a system like that really is get you as many shots as you want to the system that you're playing overseas and any other system you've played before?
Transitioning from the D'Antoni system to playing overseas was a nightmare because I was the guy that as a freshman, he essentially said, here's the ball, here's the keys, you're driving. So, I mean, I'd go to him in timeouts, and I'd be like, Coach, man, like, we're getting killed. What do you want to run? Or, like, we're really struggling. He'd be like, John, whatever you call, I'm with it, man. I got your back. And I'm like, dude, let's do it. And then you get overseas, and you're running, like, a lot of sets. You're running a lot of, like, slowed down offenses. So, I mean, playing overseas it's almost like early 2000s, late 90s basketball where it's real physical, pound the ball inside, real strategical. So I kind of had to take a step back and kind of learn my first year how it went. So it was definitely a learning process, but, you know, I enjoyed it.
Let's talk about our connection, John. And for those who don't know, I am John Elmore because I played John Elmore on scout team my sophomore year when Ohio State played Marshall. He knows this. Andrew knows this. I've never had more fun playing basketball than I did getting the neon green light to shoot from 3 steps inside half court. Do you know how much fun people have trying to be you?
Man, I didn't know. Funny story, like you're talking about. I transferred to Marshall, and I had to sit out. So we got in practice, and coaches, like, we're running all the stuff, and we were just crushing the team that was playing because we had 4 or 5 guys that were sitting out. And, I mean, just like you said, playing in that system, playing in the scout team from day one was just a dream come true because you have the ultimate green light. And, man, I was really lucky. And like you said, it's a lot of fun.
I got to say that the one downfall is that if some team figures out how to beat the system, you can end up with a little butt whooping like we put on the Marshall. So
come on, man.
I had to put that in there. The truth of the matter is, if I'm playing in the game, you know, the odds are we gave you some kind of butt whooping or we got our butts whooped. So that was the last high moment of the season. So if you want, you kind of crushed our spirits in a way because after that game it was all downhill from there.
Well, at least we can help y'all out a little bit, like the bright spot.
John, every team has a secret weapon. You know, in some cases it might be you, but I don't think you're really a secret anymore. Who would you say heard that secret weapon is?
Man, that's a good question. I think our secret weapon is kind of our depth as a whole this year. You know, I'm not going to say one individual because we've made some really big additions this year. And I think our ability to play 1 through 8 or 1 through 10 is really going to stand out because we'll just be running guys in and out. You don't get tired. You don't have to play that many minutes. I mean, I'm going to want to play a lot of minutes. So we're going to have to talk to the coach about that. But I think just our ability to have depth this year is going to go a long way, and that's our weapon.
You mentioned a coach. I have to ask you one more D'Antoni question. Is your coach going to wear a T-shirt and a sport coat? Is that another thing he's going to – does he have to do that?
So for those that don't know, Coach D'Antoni, I've never seen him wear a tie. He comes out to every college basketball game with a Marshall T-shirt on and a sport coat. So if we can get our coach rocking a sport coat and a T-shirt, I think we're going for it.
So
that's a no-brainer to me.
So obviously you have a lot of points at Marshall, a lot of points Conference USA, but actually what you're most famous for is being Ott Elmore's brother. And I had an article sent to me the other day that said, Twitter falls in love with Marshall Sr. rocking a dad bod. And that was about your brother. Did you ever talk to him about that article?
You know, I think we tried to just put that behind us, but at the same time, I mean, he got a lot of publicity off of that. So I guess any publicity is good publicity, I guess they say. But, you know, I mean, it was just – he was in a tough situation, didn't play the most minutes, but he's a guy that brought it every day, shoots the hell out of the ball, a guy that we're going to expect to contribute in the TBT. So dad bod or not, they better have a hand up when he catches the ball.
Are you excited to get to play with your brother again?
I am. He's 2 years older than me. We grew up playing AAU together. I always played the one, the point, and he played the two, the shooting guard. So just, you know, that family connection. My dad's part of the coaching staff. We ended up playing college ball together. He didn't play as much as I did, but still there were games he got in. Senior night, we both started together. So that was one of my most memorable moments of my college career. So, you know, just the family connection. I mean, I'm sure you all are close with your family. I'm really close with mine in basketball, and just sharing that connection and having the ability to play in the TBT with some of your family. I mean, those are memories you'll talk about forever.
So what do you think what's more chance of happening? Another 5 minutes for him, or 5 points in 5 minutes?
5 points in 5 minutes. I think he's settled down a little bit. The aggressiveness is kind of flatlined. So I expect 5 points in 5 minutes out of him this year. And if there's 5,000 5 minutes, I hope he makes the most of the fouls.
So for some reason, this feels just like a rapid fire interview where we're just throwing off questions and you're answering them. So I want to do something a little different. I want to give you the opportunity to pitch to us and to pitch to the TBT fans across the world why we and they should be Heard That fans this summer.
You know, I'd say why everybody should be Heard That fans is because of just the team and the personnel we have. There's so many backstories. Stevie Browning, who will be one of the starters on the team, we played college together. We grew up about an hour apart. We played AAU basketball together. And then we kind of lost touch. He went to Fairmont State, which is Division II. I went to VMI, and everybody knows crazy stuff happens in life. I ended up transferring to Marshall, and it turns out Stevie was transferring to Marshall as well. So we were on scout team together. We ended up playing 2 years together. One of my best friends, roommates in college. So, I mean, just those connections, those brotherhood. I mean, you hear Ohio State's guys talk about it all the time, how you really are family with a lot of your teammates, and you really have those relationships. So just the relationships we have with each other, how close the team is. But I'd say the biggest selling point is the style of basketball we're going to play. Like you talk about the D'Antoni system. That's what we want to do. We want to set the record for points. We want to get up and down. We want to throw alley-oops. We want to hit threes from the hash, from not half court, but a couple steps inside half court.
Might as well be half court.
Yeah, might as well be half court. If you can make it, D'Antoni says shoot it. So, I mean, just that type of basketball is exciting, and that brand of basketball is something that I think a lot of people enjoy watching, and hopefully we get enough stops and score more points in the defense that we'll be able to advance and maybe win some money.
Let me tell you at home, he's not lying. I had a front row, like I said before, I had a front row seat for it, and I was a part of it. And now I have been convinced that if Big X calls me, if Carmen Screw calls me, and Heard That calls me, I'm going with Heard That because I want to chuck from the half court. So you let me know if you need another shooter. I will get my butt in the gym and run suicides until I'm in shape to chuck half quarters for you guys.
Dude, you are on the list. If somebody drops out, I'm calling your number. And be ready to shoot because we are getting them up.
Oh, I wake up ready to shoot. I'm brushing my teeth saying pass me the ball. You know that feeling.
Exactly.
What can I do? I want to help.
You know, I mean, we do have some guys that aren't in prime time shape. So, I mean, depending on your shooting percentage and style of play, you might be the right fit.
Andrew, tell them a little bit about your style of play.
Well, my style of play goes like this. If the guy is older and slower than me, I'm taking him to the basket. But if he's not, I'm shooting threes over him, and you better bet your ass he's scoring on me on the other end. So sounds like I would fit right in with Heard That.
I love it, dude. If we get a spot, y'all are both in, man.
Oh man, that's one way to butter up the inside TBT people, man. You can tell us you got spots that don't exist. I mean, we're there.
We might have to put official fan account of Heard That in our Twitter bio now.
I'm sold. Let's do it.
So, one of the cool things about TBT is the Elam ending, where, I mean, you know what it is. The people listening know what it is. Joey, we've explained it 1,000 times since we started the show, so I'm not going to go over it again. But I think if anyone's going to score all of the points in the Elam ending, it's a guy like yourself. Is that something you would want to try and do this summer?
Feed the horse, man. If I'm hot and the game is on the line, I'm welcoming the ball. I want the ball. So, like you said, if we can hit 3 threes to win the Elam ending going to, what is it, 7 or 8? Is it 7? 8.
It's 8.
No,
It's 8.
Dude, we're gonna score 9. We're going for 3 threes in a row. So we're gonna try to go for the quickest Elam ending possible, and hopefully we're on the good side of the Elam ending and not the losing side.
I got a strategy for you. You know, you mentioned you want to shoot threes and get it over with quick. I think for Heard That, there's no doubt that that's the strategy you guys are gonna go with. When you need 3 points and you bring up the ball, if they're not pressuring you, why not shoot a half court shot? It's wide open. That's not the lowest percentage shot ever, you know? Is that crazy?
I like it, dude. I like it. I don't know how that stacks up for all these analytical gurus out there, but like I know where you're coming from.
Analytics are off the table, out the door for TBT and for the Elam ending. Throw all your analytics away. It is when John Elmore is on the court, there's only one analytic you need to see, and that's most points in the history of Conference USA.
And further, if you want to simplify it, the real analytic is that 3 points is more than 2 points. So why would you ever shoot a 2?
Preach, man. I'm in your corner, man. I'm with you.
You're gonna be preaching this when you're a coach and your team loses by like 50, and you're gonna say, "Well, we got up 100 threes. We just didn't get them to go down."
You know, next game we're not gonna miss all of them, guys. So we're gonna bounce back.
We're playing the percentages. You only miss the shots you don't take. So yeah, I mean, it's when you miss all of them.
Exactly.
The craziest thing about this is we're talking to you. We've talked to Fletcher McGee. We've talked to John Diebler. The question I got to ask you is, when the TBT has a 3-point contest, not only are you going to be in it, but are you going to win it?
Oh yeah, I'm not going there to lose if there is a 3-point contest. You know, those guys are, legendary shooters, but I know where my money is.
And they would and you would move the rack back 7 feet just to be like, sorry, this is my comfort zone.
Oh yeah, we're not towing the line by any means.
If there's a fouling competition, I'm taking your brother.
Oh, I know where my money's at on that one as well.
Could you imagine they have the 3-point contest, and then they're like, oh shoot, that went too fast. We need to fill something up before the dunk contest. Let's get Odd Elmore out here and see how many times he can foul in a minute.
If Fletcher McGee and John Diebler and myself are out there shooting, I think it'll go by pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're like, we were expecting more rebounds. There's no rebounds. They're just all going right to the dudes. It's unbelievable.
Man.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you to be matched up with Joe Johnson if you have to play overseas elite?
Dude, I welcome that matchup. Dude's a legend, NBA vet, crazy, phenomenal career. But, my mentality is you're just going to have to show me. So, I welcome that.
Show me.
Is that the coolest thing about the TBT to you, or one of the coolest things beyond being with your teammates again and being with your brother and family and all the great stuff that comes with that? Is it safe to say that maybe it's a run for the money is getting a chance to play against some of these, high level college, high level NBA, high level overseas type players?
I agree 100%. I think that's the most underrated thing about the whole tournament is how high level the competition is. You're playing against NBA veterans. You're playing against guys that have had phenomenal overseas careers. You're playing against guys that are college basketball legends. You don't get that chance during the summer. Most guys play pickup during the summer, but we're talking about $2 million is what the past purse has been. I don't know what it is this year, but you're talking about playing with your boys, playing with your family against some of the best basketball players around on national television. I don't think most people are doing that during the summer.
I know we're not. So,
John, something that we like to do with our guests, and I think you're a pretty good candidate to do this, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. We like to let our guests ask us a couple of questions. So anything on your mind, we'd be happy to answer.
Who wins the TBT this year? Who's your prediction?
oh wow.
Ooh.
You want to go first, Andrew, or you want me to go?
I'll go first. So everything is kind of still pending with who's in, who's not in.
Right.
I think depending on the bracket, most likely potential Final Four, I think could be Boeheim's Army, Carmen's Crew, and Overseas Elite. And then I think it's going to be a battle to get that fourth spot, assuming the bracket worked like that. And I think once you get to the Final Four, anyone can win. But I'm taking Boeheim's Army this year if I'm taking only one team.
Oh my God!
They've got a few draft picks.
You're gonna say that to his face? Oh
Well,
my God.
I think if Herd that can squeeze in as that 14, then they could win.
Anything's possible, man.
What about you, Joey? Hot
John,
shot over there.
You know my answer. Come on. You know my answer. I have been tried to be unbiased and stuff. Like Big X, there's 2 Ohio State teams now, basically. Big X
Right.
those are all my teammates, and I love them, and I'm gonna root for them so incredibly hard, harder than I will root for Carmen's Crew. But you can't until they're dethroned, they're the champion. So to me, that's how I look at it. Do I have a new favorite team with Herd that? Without a doubt. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because we had the Dayton guys on, and I didn't say that to them, and we had Fletcher McGee on, and he was on Florida TNT at the time. Now he's on War Tampa. Didn't say that to him.
Fletcher McGee's like Bino Udre. He's getting traded to all the different teams.
The transfer portal is booming right now.
Yo, actually, Fletcher McGee has to sit out a year. He can't play in this year's TBT.
If we play with Tampa, Fletcher has to take the game off.
Yeah, people are saying, does the TBT have a transfer problem? That's what people are saying.
Where's the loyalty in TBT basketball nowadays?
So one thing I will say, John, is, you guys are adding people left and right. Overseas Elite's adding people. Boeheim's Army adds like a former first-round pick every day. All these teams are adding people. Carmen's Crew has really only made one major – and major's not – I don't even know if major's the right word. What do you think about people going outside of their maybe namesake to find people? Because you guys are doing it.
I support it. I mean, like you said, where's the loyalty? But at the same time, like Marshall, a small school, like we don't have a ton of dudes still playing currently, you know what I'm saying? So certain times you need to branch out. So, I mean, if you're an alumni-based team, I think your core should be mostly those guys. So, but if you add a few grad transfers here and there, I mean, I don't think that's too bad.
Did you guys ever consider the team name We Are TBT?
Oh, is that trademarked?
I think you guys might have to switch to that.
Can we put that on a shirt?
You should.
That be a warm-up?
That needs to be the warm-up, 100%. 100%.
And you need to send a couple our way.
We need to get the TBT on the phone to talk about some We Are TBT warm-ups.
Well, who do you think you're talking to? You're on the phone with TBT right now, baby.
We're good. Man, mark that off our list. We're good.
Perfect.
Our demands have been met.
You got any more questions for us, John? That was too easy.
Yeah. How is Carmen's Crew going to bounce back?
Oh, geez. Well, bouncing back is one way to look at it. When you're bouncing back from the championship.
Is there going to be a drop-off?
You know what? If my one criticism, and I've said it to their face, is that they are old. They're old dudes. And a lot of them just had kids this past offseason too, which is very funny. So they might be losing some sleep also. So I really do think though, like what they lack in, the old legs that they have, maybe they've played there's a lot of basketball on the legs, a lot of miles and stuff. They say the same thing every time. It's their chemistry kind of that takes them out of that. And fortunately for them, they're pretty darn deep as well. And if one guy has an off night, then they can't all have an off night, basically, But it is fair to say that, maybe some complacency in terms of they've won it. Like, what else is there to do? But besides that, it's that they're kind of old. Like, and I'll be the first guy to tell them that too.
Something interesting.
I played against Kraft and Buford this year overseas, and they looked pretty good to me.
They didn't look old.
They didn't look old.
Something that I think is very interesting about this year with a shorter amount of teams is if you look at something like the NCAA tournament, if you shrunk the NCAA tournament from 68 or whatever it is now down to 24, you'd see a lot more one seeds losing in the first round. So I think there's going to be like Carmen's crew could potentially now be matched up with a team that they wouldn't have seen until the third round. So I think there's going to be
drop off. I don't think there's a drop off like you're talking about it. The quality just 1 through 24 is going to be elite. I think anybody through the 24 has the capability of winning it.
Exactly. There's no one that you want to see in the first round. There's no one you want to see in the whole tournament. And you definitely don't want to see that in the first round.
Let's go, man. Bro, I'm fired up. Let's go.
I wish Joey and I could, fly to wherever you are right now and just shoot around for a little because that would be fun.
Man, I don't know if y'all would win the shoot around, but, ultimate competitive. But, I'm sure we'd have a good time.
Hey, man, you don't know – I know you're a great shooter. I know you got way more points than I have. I know, but in a shooting contest, I don't know. You don't know this, but you're looking at the T-Mobile Metro Media Jam shooting contest champion. Okay?
Are you throwing accolades out here?
All right, Joey, you can make that plural because I won the first thing. You won the second thing.
You have a trophy?
I do not have a trophy.
Okay, I have a trophy.
I crawled so you could walk in that tournament.
I also – I will say, the real stat I'd like to throw out there, and you tell me if this is good or not. Well, in the Ohio State 3-point contest, in our little, we call it Buckeyes on the Blacktop. I went 19 for 25 in a 3-point contest. That's pretty. Tell the people at home that's pretty good.
Percentage-wise, that's pretty top notch.
And all the pressure. My God, I'm not even supposed to be there. That's why there was none. It's like, hey, man, we're just here to have a good time.
John, this has been absolutely hilarious. Before we let you go and we end what might be the greatest interview in the history of sports interviews, anything else you want to tell us, tell the world, tell the fans about Heard That and TBT this summer?
Just be ready, man. We already kind of hit on it a little bit, but just the brand of basketball, the excitement we're going to bring. We might hit a 3 from half court. We might catch a lob on somebody's head poster. You know what I'm saying? We've added a little more flair to the roster this year. So just keep an eye out for Heard That, or however we're going to pronounce that with the emphasis that we were talking about.
You heard that. You heard that here first. Heard that coming this summer.
Wow.
All right, John, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it, man.